everybody, I'm Tom Vasso, and welcome to Week in Review. If you don't know what this is, if you're stumbling across it for the first time, you should check these out. We do them every week, and what we do is we talk about the videos we put out the previous week, give you short summaries of them, and then if you want to know more, hey, a link in the description will take you to the full video. Let's go.
Hey everybody, Garcia here. So last week I reviewed two games. I reviewed Meenakshi Temple, which I gave a 7 out of 10 to. This one is an action selection game with really quick turns and a great back and forth flow between the players. It has a really good table presence. You're building up these pieces and stacking cards on them. They look like the temples. And the game is interesting. It just didn't necessarily blow me away, and I found it to have some neat things happening. It's a nice midweight game, but again, it felt a little bit... The action selection felt a little bit of a been there, done that kind of feel, so it didn't quite rise to the occasion for me and didn't quite blow me away as I was expecting or hoping even. And then I reviewed Architects of Amities, which I gave an 8 out of 10 to. This one is a really neat two-player game, sort of a similar idea. You're building up places. You're drafting tiles and putting them in a 3x3 grid in front of you. But you are also worrying about creating this sort of selection tic-tac-toe in the middle. And you're worried about building patterns so you can score victory points for that. You are choosing your own scoring conditions throughout the game. There's a lot of little things running at each other, and they often compete for your attention. So I found it to be a very clever, quick game. It takes 30 minutes or so, but in those 30 minutes, there's plenty of things for me to think about. So I enjoyed this one. And that's why I got an 8 out of 10. And that's it for me. My name is Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.
Hey everybody, it's Chris time. This week I took a look at several games, the first of which, well, I did 3 reviews with Wendy, 3 kids games that I rated from a 4 up to a 7. The Pusheen stacking game had some misprints on it, so that one was the 4, and then all the way at the highest one was the S'mores Galore, which I gave a 7. Fun, cute little set collection game for kids. Some neat little tension of how you collect sticks, because you get sticks for s'mores, obviously. Dominion Rising Sun. This one I give a 6. This is one of the lowest scores I've given a Dominion expansion, maybe ever, or at least in a very long time. I think that it didn't have too good of an identity to it, unfortunately, and it had some kind of annoying effects like cards that you could play from your deck, which wasn't really a smooth way to do that. I prefer the cards digitally for that reason. Daitoshi, I gave a 7.5. This is a very involved, very procedural game that I have a lot of fun with. I very much enjoy it, but between some of the graphic issues I have with it, it's very busy and hard to parse everything, and then also just the fact that it is so procedural and you can miss little steps here and there. But man, if you want some good intense strategy in a game, Daitoshi is very good. And then lastly, House of Fado, I gave an 8.5. I think this is an excellent game, a distillation of The Gallerist from Lacerda. This is Joao Martins and Vital Lacerda co-designing together again, the same pair that worked on Bot Factory, and I think they nailed the same type of magic, where this is a quicker and an easier game with less overhead, but nice, intense decisions still in there. Feels like a Lacerda game still, which I really like about that. So, that, folks, has been my week.
All right, let's just dive in here with my 3 that I looked at this week. First up was Architects of Amities. Not really sure. This is one that I came in at a 7 on, first of all. This is one that I found myself a little bit frustrated with. I gave it a 7 because it's one that I would recommend. And I like the 30 to 40 minute playtime. I really like that it's specifically designed by 2. Or for 2, and I like a lot of the decisions. I like that you're going to take a tile or a building that's going to do something and score immediately, but then you're also fighting for position out on this board to take that tile, because if you get a tic-tac-toe, then you get an opportunity to take kind of bonus action and create some end game scoring for yourself. So I like that, I guess, kind of decision of, do I take the tile that I really want because it's the type of building I want or it's a color I want, or do I go here to block your tic-tac-toe or set up my tic-tac-toe? That was interesting, but ultimately I found myself through more plays just taking the building that I want. Now often I didn't win my plays of this either, so I'm not very good at it, don't necessarily recommend that, But that was just my play style. It didn't quite sing as much as I want in that decision space. So, good game. Would definitely recommend it. Happy to play it. Not one I'm going to come back to a whole lot, though. So for me, it was a 7. Also took a look at Finders Creepers. This one I bought because it looked really cool and was on sale at Target. And I'm really glad I did. Came in at an 8.5 on it. I find this to be an excellent family game. It's one that is going to be not virtual reality, augmented reality. So it's going to be an AI where you all have some device and you're looking at the board. Monsters are going to be popping up and you're trying to collect the right items in order to capture them. It is a very engaging game. Even not on your turn, you have your device and you're looking at the board because it might give you little hints or little reminders of where these monsters are. That's great that it takes out that, not takes out the memory element, but kind of lessens it a little bit. Also has this little mini game where you actually turn around and you're moving around your house in order to try to find the monsters, and whoever takes out the most monsters by this like little shooting game is going to get a bonus. Just some really cool things like that. I think the family's going to be engaged and you can play it from your youngest children, not your youngest, but your young children up to, your parents, your grandparents, things like that. It did take a little bit of dock for me because I had some problems with the app if somebody is on an older device. And so for me, that was somebody who was playing on a phone that was like 6 years old. So, time for an upgrade anyway, but that is to know that you do need newer devices. Something 6, 7 years old the app might not work and crash pretty frequently. But it does come with cards so you can play an appless version of it. I just don't have interest in that. So for me, it was an 8.5, a fantastic time to play with your family. And last up with Tom, I took a look at Dragon Eclipse. This is the new Awakened Realms game that I came in at a 9 on. Ooh, does this campaign make me happy? I love the tutorial system in this one. I love that it's teaching you not just how to make decisions and how to play the game, but it's teaching you kind of how to make good decisions so you feel like you are truly building an experience as you play. I love that you go into combat and you have a lot of puzzly moments as you get to know your little Emberlings and how to sequence their cards together and play them together to be really efficient fighter. And as you're doing that, the game is also getting harder. You're unlocking booster packs to give you more options for deck construction, but the deck construction is really quick. You're not overwhelmed with options as you open a booster pack, mixing it in to give you better options. But for those options, you're just drawing 4 or 5 cards at the start of each combat and choosing from those. So it's really quick. Everything about this game is about building an experience to me. You have a very branching story that you're playing into. You're building your deck a little bit differently. And ultimately, it's just a great time. I love that it's hyper-focused on 1 to 2 players as well. And you really feel the design shine because it's focused on that player count and it's built to be good at that player count. And it is. So for me, Dragon Eclipse was a 9. That's going to be it. Let's keep going.
Hey there, everybody. It's Mike Delisio, and let's start off this week with Daitoshi, which I rated a 7.5. This is a really, really smart, intricate Euro game, heavy Euro game that does a lot of really smart things. So I easily recommend it, but it didn't get a little higher score because it's kind of right on the edge of what I can handle as far as complexity goes. There's just a lot of things to parse, a lot of things to keep track of. Some of the graphic design kind of hinders that, and I felt like there wasn't as strong of a thematic connection to what you're doing as I would have liked, but still easily recommendable, really smart Euro game, Daitoshi. Next up is Fives, which I rated an 8. Fives is a trick-taking game. It's a re-implementation of a game called The Green Five-Ora from one of the best trick-taking designers around, Taiki Shinzawa. This is part of the Magenta line of games that CMYK has just put out, 4 card games. And although there were some production issues that I had, namely I would have liked to have seen at least a dual index on the cards, the game itself is such a fantastic, fantastic design that it's easily recommended. One of the best trick takers I've played in a little bit, that is Fives. And then finally, Critter Kitchen, which I rated an 8.5, gave that a seal of excellence because I think that for its intended audience, which is a pretty wide audience, it does so many things well. It has a lot of simultaneous elements to the play, which means that the game moves along at a good clip. I really love the theme and the way that the cooking theme is implemented in this game because a lot of cooking games I've bounced off of because they tended to be real time or be a crisis management game, where this is not that type of a game. Really clever touches, beautiful production, gorgeous art. That's Critter Kitchen. All right, well, that's going to do it for me this week. I will see you on the next one.
Hi, I'm Wendy Yee, and I have actually a lot of reviews this week. So Chris and I did a 3 kids game review, and I'll just go over those real quick, and then 2 other games as well. So the first one is Tic-Tac-Trek, and this is like an open tic-tac-toe game where you're trying to finish your little tic-tac-toe 3 in a rows, kind of all in a group, but you're trying to get your last ones placed on the outside because you get to put fires there. It's cute. I gave it a 6. I don't think I'm going to come back to it a ton, but it's a nice little travelable size game. The next one is Pusheen, which I gave a 6.5. It almost made it to a 7 because we play it all the time with our daughter. It's a little stacking game with the cute little Pusheen characters, but there's some bad misprints on the cards, and so it's all about stacking just perfectly, but then some of the pictures don't match correctly. And so you have to decide beforehand, am I going to go for the shape of the actual piece, or am I going to go for the picture on the piece? And that's just a sad disappointment. But we play the game a ton with our daughter. So 6.5, I can't quite recommend it, but it's very close. The next one is S'mores Galore. It's a cute little card game where you're trying to make these fancy s'mores. And you're basically choosing a row or a column that you're going to pull those cards and place them in front of you. And it's all about sequencing the correct s'mores and the cards in order so you can trade them in. And there's a bunch of little actions. And I think it's a cute card game, so I gave this one a 7. I did enjoy it. I like the theme, and the artwork is absolutely adorable. House of Fado is the next one. This one I gave an 8. This is the miniaturized version of the Gallerist, and instead it's about Fado music, and so you're inviting people into your bar. You're also hiring musicians, and as the people in your bar and in your restaurant kind of enjoy the food and they enjoy the entertainment, they applaud and they level up the musicians. And it's just a very clean but very heady, like brain-burny worker placement game, especially with the 2-player variant. I do prefer it at 3+, just because the 2-player variant is very, very, very head-to-head. It's pretty intense, but I still enjoyed it both ways, so it's good. That one is an 8. And the last one is Daitoshi, and this is I don't know if it's the most recent DeVere game. There's so many DeVere games, but it is one of the big DeVere games. And in this, you are basically... You're trying to exploit as you're building up this city, and you're working through this rondel of worker placement, but you're trying not to exploit too much the natural resources because then you anger the gods. And I just really enjoy the way that the rondel works, the way that you can build up the actions. It is a tight game. It is a heavy game, but there's a lot of good stuff going on. And I really enjoy that balance of trying to constantly get rid of the bad stuff off your board, all that exploitation, so that you can take care of the land and take care of the different resource types and keep things balanced. So I think it's an interesting way to tie in that theme, and also I enjoy that little world that they've created there in Daitoshi. So there you go. That is my week in review. That was a lot, but it's been a good week. So good week full of good games. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Wendy Yee, and let's go ahead and see who's next.
All right, this week I took a look at Critter Kitchen. I have a few small issues with, I don't think it scales particularly well, although the comment section disagreed. But I do like the component quality. I like the gameplay itself. It's fun to make dishes of food. It is an 8 out of 10 for me. I took a look at Aldera. This is a huge game, and that's actually my biggest knock against it. It's so big. And it didn't need to be quite so big because it's a fairly light game. Moving ships around, playing cards. It almost has a feeling similar to a popular game called Nexus Ops with ships and dice. There's just a lot to love about the game. That's Aldera. Chris and I took a look at Dominion Rising Sun. This is the first expansion that I can remember in a long time where I actively disliked pretty much everything in it. There's a couple cards I enjoy, but most of the new mechanisms, debt, and other stuff, I'm just not a huge fan of. 5 out of 10. Dragon Eclipse. This is a fun going over, it's kind of like a Pokemon theme in a sense, but this Awakened Realms game in which you're going to be moving through and using kind of a combat with your creatures fighting other creatures and a tactical combat, but then a huge choose your own adventures section that's happening in between. So if you like storyline stuff like that, I found it to be fun. Another 8 out of 10. And then I did a bunch of short reviews, so you can check out that video. Most of them negative, but there's an interesting, good one in there. We did our top 10 games that are replaced by the app. We did a live play. We did all our regular shows with crowd surfing. We also talked about the most played games at Dice Tower West. So that's a video I'm sure a lot of you would be interested in. What games are hot right now? And that is my week in review, our week in review here at the Dice Tower. We'll see you this coming week. I'm Tom Vassell. Thanks for watching the Dice Tower. Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Vassell.
Hey everybody, it's Chris time. I didn't catch that correct. Let me try that again. Hey everybody, it's Chris time. Nope. Hey everybody, it's Chris time. Out. Buddy, it's Chris. Hey everybody, it's Chris time. Nailed it. Oh, I should have just kept going.